Welcome back. So if you're looking for a review of the first three games today, already on the channel, already got that reviewed. We got the 5 games for tonight. 4 games on the first board, 1 on the last board. I didn't end up needing an extra column for that one either. I thought I might, but it turned out to be kind of a fait accompli by the time we get to late in the third period. So not a lot of notes to take at that point. Let's start things off with Vancouver at home against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Mrazek versus Demko. Toronto, of course, coming off of the loss against Calgary. Early press by the Leafs. However, on the Canucks' first shot, they get the goal. It's Miller from Besser and Horvat at 129. I think they thought about challenging on that. They didn't. Leafs end up pressing. They get themselves a power play shortly thereafter. The Leafs have the number 1 power play in the league. The Canucks, the number 32 penalty kill tonight. Well, that would rear its ugly head yet again. However, this power play was killed off. One shot. Matthews had a chance to deflect it out. Canucks then get a power play. There's a near miss for Besser. He doesn't miss the next opportunity. Brock Besser scores from Ekman Larsson and Miller at 6 minutes. So here's the interesting thing. Quinn Hughes goes into protocol, right? And immediately we're like, well, what's going to happen with the defense? Ekman Larsson's on a 3-game point streak. He's suddenly scoring really well. Maybe Ekman Larsson should be playing more of the special teams, and yeah, maybe that's where things need to change for the Canucks, even when Hughes comes back. Spets has a rush that's broken up. There were some go Leafs go chants going on. I'd say it sounded like it was like 50-50. It sounded that way. Now remember, the Canucks outside the playoffs, the Leafs in the playoffs. This is not unusual. I find that the distribution of Leaf fans in Canuck land seems to be based on how poorly or how well the Canucks are playing. Anyways, not that they're not loud no matter what, but there seems to be a lower percentage when the Leafs aren't very good and the Canucks are very good. Canucks press at 9 minutes. Mrazek saves there. Simmons has a rush chance that's saved and held. Lamico in off the wing. Mrazek saves on that as well. 3:05 left. The Canucks get a power play. Hunt fires one wide. The Leafs did kill that off. And in the closing seconds, Sandin hits a post. So it's 2-0 Vancouver after 1 in what was a very evenly played first period. That would change in the second. The second period was very lopsided. Glass gets knocked out, causes a delay near the start of the period. Garland then has a net feed that deflects over the net. The Leafs press at 6.5 minutes. Matthews fires one high. The Canucks end up getting a power play. There was a near shorthanded goal from Mikheyev. That power play's killed off. The Leafs pressed after it ended. Besser blasts one wide. The Leafs get another power play. This one they score on. It's Matthews from Tavares and Nylander at 12:46, and then the Leafs start pressing for the tie. Mrazek denies OEL on a rush, and then the Leafs go back to the power play. So it kind of feels like at this point, the Canucks is kind of falling apart, and when the Leafs score on this third power play, and it's the second power play goal on 3 power plays, Kasha from Spezza and Sandin at 15:41, it looked like the absolute destruction was done, that the Canucks were now spiraling in the wrong direction. And the Leafs start looking for the lead. And then, somewhat against the flow of the play, Lamico gets a goal from Chason and Mott at 18:30. And Tyler Mott, what a game by him. That puts the Canucks back in the lead. Now, over that final minute and a half, the Leafs did try to find themselves an answer, but it's 3-2 Canucks after 2. Third period, early power play for the Canucks. That was a no. Leafs press at 3 minutes. Garland blocks a Marner blast. Demko was doing his best to keep the lead, and I think that's understating things. He had a fantastic game. Pettersson with a rush chance, that saved. Nylander with a break. Demko saves on that. Near miss for Garland on a rush. With 2:22 left, the Canucks get a power play. So what the Leafs do is they get the puck out of their zone. They pull the goaltender for some 5-on-5. However, during the 5-on-5, Miller gets an empty net goal. Problem is, it's offside. So that means that the face-off is just outside the Toronto blue line, meaning you got to put Mrazek back in. So Horvat has a chance after that's saved by Mrazek. They killed it off. They did get Mrazek out late, but it was late. And your final score is 3-2 for Vancouver. They go to 22, 21, and 6. They're above NHL 500 tonight. The Leafs 30, 12, and 3 with the loss. The shots in this one, 12-11 Toronto in the first, 24-7 Toronto in the second, 17-6 Toronto in the third. Final shots 53-24 for the Leafs. Yeah, so that's a lot of shots. Usually you will lose those games, but Demko was fantastic. He was first, second, and third star to me. Power plays, Toronto 2 for 3, Vancouver 1 for 5, so that penalty kill takes a hit tonight. The hits were 38-20 for Vancouver because they didn't have the puck enough. Mrazek saves 21 out of 24. Demko saves 51 out of 53. And in between the second and third, Hockey Night in Canada was tearing apart Mrazek. And I felt bad because I thought, they have 36 shots to 18. Demko's goaltending them, as I'm sure Steve Dangle's aware of. It's not the first time the Leafs have been goaltended. And, Demko just had a great game. But, that's how it works. The Canucks come out with a win. They've got to get on a bit of a roll here if they're really, truly going to get back into the playoff picture. Speaking of which, Winnipeg goes in against Nashville tonight and did something completely opposite to this game here, although these games were sort of echoing each other a bit for a while here. Hellebuck versus Saros in this. Both teams with early turnovers. It's not optimal. Your coach isn't going to be happy. And then Granlund opens the scoring at 3:26 from Forsberg and Duchesne. And it was a nice slapper. It's the third shot of the game for Nashville. The Jets didn't have any as of yet. We then get a power play for the Predators. There was a shorthanded 2-on-0. Kopp was robbed there. And then Nashville scores on the power play. It's Duchesne from Yossi and Johansson at 6:19. To Winnipeg's credit, they don't give up. It's Scheifele scoring from Heinola and Wheeler at 7:44 to make it 2-1. That was the third shot of the game for Toronto. And then they try to tie it after. In fact, Scheifele tried to tie it on his next shift. Ekholm has a shot blocked as they press. Connor was denied as the Jets were again seeking to tie it up. Jets get a power play. That's killed off. The Predators pressure with 3.5 minutes left. With 1:05 left, Nashville gets a power play. So that rolls into the second period. Yossi has a chance that's saved. The Jets would finish off the kill at that point. And then there's a press by the Predators at 4.5 minutes. So the Preds really looking to add to the lead there. Jets get a power play. That's killed off. There's another Jets power play. Connor has a blast that goes wide. He doesn't miss on the next one. Connor ties it up from Wheeler at 9:57. And Blake Wheeler had quite the game. So if you are one of those who's not a big fan of Wheeler, tonight wasn't a good example of why he shouldn't play a lot. In fact, tonight's a good example of why he plays a lot. Predators pressure with 7.5 minutes left. There's a late power play for the Jets, but that penalty kill just wouldn't let him get set up. Things get scrummy at the Preds net after a save, so we go to the third period with this tied at 2. Forsberg was denied by Hellebuck. The shots are 8-3 for the Jets at 7 minutes. They were playing very well. Winnipeg seemed to understand just how important these 2 points were tonight. How important it was not to give a point to a division rival. They must have looked at the standings and said, we've really got to get this figured out. We've got to get it in gear because we're, in danger of falling completely out of this race. Jets get a power play, and it's reviewed. So Borowiecki with an elbow to the head, and, it injures the player, so they do a review, and they go, yep, it's 5 in a game. So I'm pretty sure with it being 5 in a game misconduct, it immediately goes to the league. I don't know if the league's going to do anything more. I don't know if there's a suspension there. I was good with the 5 minutes because he does injure the player with the elbow, and he did turn back to do it. And Nashville paid the price. First off, during the 5-minute power play, it's Wheeler from Scheifele and Morrissey at 10:53. And then 59 seconds later, still on that 5-on-4, the 5 minutes of it, Dubois scores from Wheeler and Connor. So that makes it 4-2 in favor of the Jets. And Dubois was a thing of beauty. He was looking past, and then he just puts it right through Saros. Saros was faked out by that. Predators then force a penalty to make it 4-on-4 with about 2 minutes left in the power play, so they don't have to worry about the rest of that. Forsberg has a net drive. That's defended. They pull the goalie with 4 minutes left because you have to. You're down by 2. Wheeler hits the empty net from Scheifele at 16:56. Blake Wheeler with 2 goals, 3 assists to go with those 2 goals. That's 5 points. Not a bad night for Wheeler. The Jets win 5-2. They go to 20, 17, and 8. Nashville drops to 28, 16, and 4 with the loss. The shots in this one, 17-12 Nashville in the first, 15-8 Winnipeg in the second, 16-11 Winnipeg in the third. Final shots, 43-36 for the Jets. Power plays, Winnipeg goes 3 for 8 because 5-minute power play. And the Nashville goes 1 for 3. Hits, 35 hits each. Hellebuck saves 34 out of 36. Saros saves 38 out of 42. Good bounce back for Hellebuck. Last couple of games, he's been okay. This game, he was fantastic. So, for Nashville, it's got to be a frustrating result. You've got Winnipeg on the second half of a back-to-back, and you're not able to take advantage of it. All right, moving along. Minnesota and Carolina. So this game was really a chess match for the first 40 minutes. And then it just got crazy, right? So first period, we've got Anderson versus Talbot in this one. Early press by the Canes. The shots are 4-1 for Carolina at 4 minutes. Wild get a power play. That was killed off. Rask with a rush chance. That's fired wide. Strong start for Talbot, which is good because Carolina had some pretty good opportunities in that period and throughout the game. Kulikov blasts one wide as the Wild press, and then Anderson robs Kaprizov. So good goaltending at both ends of the ice. Good defense as well. Boldy from behind the net can't bury one. The Wild had some momentum, but in the closing seconds, Jarvis has a shot that's blocked. Might have gone in if that hadn't been blocked. So we go to the second period in a scoreless game. Near miss for Jarvis early on. Aho then has a rush that draws a Canes power play. The Wild did kill that off. The Canes getting some zone time there. Both defenses were limiting chances. Svechnikov has a pass that's blocked by Zuccarello. And then bar down on what was only Minnesota's 9th shot of the night at 10:51 of the second period. So their 9th shot over halfway into the game. And Fiala, who's suddenly hot, scores from Gaudreau and Merrill. That makes it 1-0 Minnesota. Canes try to answer. They get themselves a power play. Really strong shorthanded play by Duhaime, though, while that's going on. And it's killed off. Shea fires one wide. The Canes would press. TOR-VAN has a chance that's saved. There's a near miss for Cole. And Talbot, lucky and good at the same time. He had, I think, for Cole, I think he hit the post. There were net misses as well by Carolina. So coming out of the second period, Carolina had 24 shots. But there were also opportunities that which probably should have gone in. But Talbot had some luck on his side. Third period. The Wild with a 3-on-2. There's a crossbar for Zuccarello. The next shot goes in. It's Kaprizov from Zuccarello at 1:16 on his own rebound. So Kaprizov gets the shot and then the rebound goes in. So same next play. Canes press for an answer. However, at 2:34, Gaudreau from Fiala. Fiala steals the puck from Ethan Bear, and it's a fast break goal. So Fiala, goal and an assist there, and Gaudreau a goal and an assist at this point too. And suddenly Minnesota's up 3-0. Just crazy, right? Canes press, Talbot saves until at 5:02 Svechnikov breaks the goose egg. He scores from DeAngelo and Slavin, and he absolutely wired it. Kaprizov nearly answers, but the Canes would end up getting themselves a power play, and they score on it. It's Svechnikov with his second goal of the game from TOR-VAN and DeAngelo at 6:23, and then the Canes are looking for the tie. This is where things get crazy, where Carolina's getting those opportunities, but the Canes go back to the power play in a delay of game. That one's killed off, and kind of breaks that momentum up. Then the Wild, with 10:08 left, they get a power play. Zuccarello was denied. That's killed off. With 5:01 left, we get 2 minutes of 4-on-4 as Kaprizov and Trocheck both take a seat. Goalie pull with 2 minutes left. The Wild ice it with 1:26 left. The Canes call a timeout. So they call a timeout to discuss it. TOR-VAN was denied with 8.2 seconds left. Carolina cannot tie it. The final score is 3-2 for Minnesota. They go to 29-11-3. Carolina drops to 32-11-3. So similar records between the two. Minnesota had a pretty good night. Shots favor Carolina in each period. 8-6 in the first, 16-10 in the second, 15-11 in the third. Final shots 39-27 Carolina. The Canes go 1-for-4 on the power play. Minnesota 0-for-2. Hits 26-25 for Minnesota. Anderson saves 24-27. Talbot saves 37 out of 39. Quite the game for Cam Talbot and for Minnesota. So yeah, pretty big game there. And it had that big game sort of playoff feel throughout. Last game on this board, Chicago and St. Louis. So for the Blues, they're rolling right now, and Chicago's kind of rolling in the other direction. It's Fleury versus Husso in this one. McCabe has a chance that's tipped high. The Blues would press. Hagel breaks that up. I thought Hagel was one of the few Hawks that had a pretty solid 60 minutes tonight. Fearless shot blocks by Bertuzzo. The Blues press. They draw themselves a power play, and they score on it. Perron from Falk and Shen at 8:19. Perron then had a chance after that. That was saved. However, Joshua makes it 2-0. He scores from Krug and Sundqvist at 11:31. And then the Blues press with 5.5 minutes left as they look for an even bigger lead. Some teams finding out, hey, you've got a lead, just keep your foot on the pedal until the end of the game. Because, comebacks have been a thing lately. So, Blues press with 5.5 minutes left. Schenn with a net drive is blocked. DeBrincat was then denied in the slot. It's 2-0 St. Louis after 1. Second period. Power play for the Hawks. Seth Jones has a chance that goes wide. And then it becomes a 5-on-3 for 1 minute and 21 seconds. They do score during the 5-on-3. It's Strome from Kane and Kubalik at 2:36. But the Blues then kill off the rest of the 5-on-4. Too many Blues on the ice. The Hawks get a power play. It becomes a 4-on-4. Buchnevich misses one wide as everything's killed off. Mikkola fans on one. The Hawks rush. But then at 19:19, in the last minute, St. Louis adds to the lead. Tarasenko from Thomas and Buchnevich at 19:19. So, we go into the third period. Remember, New Jersey, they had down 2. And they clearly remembered that in this game because this was a little different in the third period than the New Jersey game. Early press by the Blues. Saad's denied from in close. Power play for the Blues. That's killed off. But not long after it's done, Sundqvist adds a goal from Mikkola and Saad at 7:11. And so, yeah, that puts the lead at a pretty big number of 4-1 at that stage. Buchnevich has a chance that's saved. It's all Blues at this point. Shots are 10-2 for the Blues with 7 minutes and 15 seconds left. Buchnevich fires high on a rush opportunity, and then Kyrou. He scores from Shannon O'Reilly at 15:38 to make it 5-1. So they definitely learned from their issue with the New Jersey game. Saad with a break. Fleury poke checks him there. Fleury didn't give up, but the Hawks do lose this one 5-1. The Hawks drop to 17-24-1 with the loss. The Blues 27-14-5, so almost identical, almost opposite records between the two. Shots 9-5 St. Louis in the first, 9 apiece in the second, and then 13-2 for St. Louis in the third. They locked it down. Final shots 31-16 for St. Louis. Power plays, both teams go 1 for 3. Hits 25-17 for St. Louis. Fleury saves 26 out of 31. Husso saves 15 out of 16. So, now we need to go to the other board. And we close things out with the Islanders in against the Calgary Flames, as the Flames remain one of the hottest teams in the league right now. And for Islanders, this was weird. So Varlamov leads them out onto the ice. Varlamov was supposed to be the starter. Markstrom at the other end of the ice. And then before we get the game underway, really, Varlamov ends up in protocol. So he gets pulled because of a positive test. So that shouldn't be happening at this point. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Now, Sorokin doesn't get hurt, because if he had, we would have been in an emergency backup goaltender situation. So that didn't happen, but it's weird. Ritchie couldn't bury one early. The Islanders would press at 5.5 minutes. Sorokin, of course, this is where, they were talking about that Varlamov was placed in protocol. Anderson has a blast that's saved, and then Ruzicka scores just before the halfway mark of the period from Anderson and Hanifin at 9:58. Ruzicka's started to get, his feet under him. He's pretty good. And he's providing that depth scoring, which is something Calgary had problems with at certain parts of the year. Islanders then get a power play in close. Parise's robbed. The kill finishes up. But the Islanders get another power play later in the period, and they score on that one. It's Dobson from Barzal and Pajot at 17:07. So that ties it up. And that one went in off Noah Hanifin. That tie game doesn't last. Tanev scores from Goudreau and Shillington at 18:08. Suddenly scoring from defensemen is a pretty common occurrence for the Calgary Flames as well. Flames get a power play then with 5 seconds left in the period, so they're starting the second with almost a full power play. Kachuk has a shot that hits the crossbar, but the Islanders did kill off the rest of it. Flames had the only shot of the period 5 minutes into it. Lee with a backhand that's saved as the Islanders did press. Nelson has a net drive that's saved. And then Lindholm-Deeks had a net that was open, but he missed the puck wide. Sorokin was holding it at 2-1 at that point. The shots are 4-0 for the Flames with 9 minutes left. So the Islanders had pressure here and there. They're just being kept to the outside. Shot blocking by the Flames, or just simple net misses by the Islanders. Then we had a fight between Johnston and Goodbranson. Dobson fires wide. The Flames would rush. And eventually, they add to their lead. It's Mangiapane from Ruzicka and Zadorov at 15:32. Then Shillington hits a post, so you feel like this could get blown open, and just when you're getting that feeling, at 16:50, the Islanders, kind of against the flow of play, Pajot scores from Parise, so that makes it 3-2. A strong forecheck by Parise ends up setting up the goal. With 2:08 left, the Islanders get a power play. The Flames did kill that off, so we go to the third period with the Flames ahead by 1. Dobson blocks a Mangiapane shot. The Islanders press at 3 minutes. Both teams are clogging up the middle until Goodbranson scores. He gets a goal from Lucic and Lewis at 8 minutes, and it barely crossed the line. It's one of those ones that barely... The initial shot they showed, I was like, well, that doesn't show it was in. There was another in-net camera that showed that it definitely crossed the line, so that's a goal. Goodbranson to go with his fight on the night, so he doesn't quite get the Gordie Howe hat trick, but he's close. 2/3 isn't bad. So the Islanders press. Markstrom saves there. Backlund was denied as the Flames seek number 5. Lindholm was not. He scores on a nice feed from Tkachuk. Gaudreau with the secondary assist at 15-13. That makes it 5-2. That would be your final score. The Flames go to 26-13-6. That's 6 wins in a row for them. For the Islanders, 17-9-6. So after that win over Vancouver, they've had back-to-back setbacks since then. Shots 10-9 Calgary in the first, 8-5 Calgary in the second, 11-7 Calgary in the third. Final shots 29-21 for the Flames. Power plays, the Islanders go 1 for 3. Calgary 0 for 1. Hits 15-12 Calgary. It feels like there was more hits than that. That feels low. Sorokin 24 saves on 29 shots. Markstrom saves 19 out of 21. He wasn't busy, but he was sharp. And so, yeah, pretty impressive victory by the Flames tonight. And they're closing in on Vegas. Look out, Vegas. They absolutely could end up being the #1 team in the Pacific very, very soon. That being said, I'm done. Let me know your thoughts regarding these games in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.